This video is brought to you by PrizePicks. So the Browns wrapped up their draft yesterday, not only with the 7th round, but also with their UDFA signings. A lot of interesting stuff happening there. So that's what we're here to talk about. We're going to talk about kind of what the Browns did in the 7th round, what they are doing with these UDFA guys, and just kind of talking about what the hopes in general are for some of these guys that they've brought in. It's interesting because college football is rapidly changing right now, and the NFL is not directly or officially connected to college football, but it is always going to be affected by college football. And the thing that's happened now because of NIL, because a lot of these guys who would be forced to go out due to economic circumstance, right? You hear players talk about, they should have went back, but they left because they needed the money. Now, if you need the money, you can get the money in college if you're good enough. So a lot of guys are just staying in college longer, which means there's less players in every draft pool. Less players in every draft pool means that what used to be 7th round talent a couple of years ago before NIL, now 5th round talent in the NFL, which means this changed the complete dynamic of day 3, rounds 5, 6, and 7. They're not what they used to be. I wonder how much longer the NFL has rounds 5, 6, and 7. And I know it sounds hard to believe that the NFL could cut rounds, but I mean, they used to have like 22 rounds in the draft. So I could see them cutting it because, you could still have the long television show. You could still sell it as a television product. You don't have to lose money to cut rounds in the draft because then you can probably package day 1 is the 1st round, day 2 still the 2nd round, and then have day 3 be like rounds 3 through 5 and still be fine. There's multiple ways that the NFL could do this and still get their money and still have their TV show. But the longer these pools continue to be smaller and the more awkward that makes the 6th and 7th round, the more and more I think it's likely that, we don't have those rounds. Not anytime soon. It's going to take like 10, 15 years for us to get to that point. But I do think eventually we will get to that point. So we're going to talk about what the Browns did in these areas. But first, I got to thank my sponsor, PrizePicks. Hey, let me talk to you about my sponsor for this year, PrizePicks. It's a fun way to win cash while you're watching your favorite teams. Forget complex betting rules. Their app is designed to be incredibly easy to use. Just pick more or less on a few player stats and lock in your lineup. Speaking of, here are my picks for this upcoming NFL season. They have Myles Garrett at 14 sacks here. I think he will get more than 14 sacks. Joe Burrow at 3,875 passing yards. I think he'll be a 4,000-yard passer. I'm going to go with more. They have Derrick Henry at 1,224 yards. I'm going to go less than that. Check to see if PrizePicks is available in your state. You can follow me on the app at KWEN_C to see all of my lineups. Download the PrizePicks app today. Play $5 and get $50 in lineups when you download the app using the link in the description. So with pick 248, the Cleveland Browns selected tight end Carson Ryan. He's 6'3", 255 pounds. Started his career at UCLA before transferring to Utah. 26 starts in college, a career high 45 receptions, 620 touchdowns. 620 touchdowns, I wish. 620 yards, 3 touchdowns in 2025. Somebody brought this up to me on Twitter, and they said, hey, Quincy, do you think that this guy could possibly be, the Browns' answer to fullback? I think that they'll give it a try. 5th round pick means that nothing's really guaranteed, and I don't know if that's how they view him because, again, you can announce these picks at a certain position to kind of set a tone, right? They didn't announce him as a fullback. They announced him as a tight end, which, again, teams don't really carry a traditional tight end. Pat Ricard was technically a tight end, so that might be the plan for him. Love to see kind of the coaches talk about what the plan is for Carson Ryan. The size is there, 6'3", 255 pounds. We'll see what he can bring to the table once he gets in here at camp. And it's going to be a weird week here because we're coming off of the draft, and these guys are going to be, the rookies are going to be getting acclimated to the team. But since the Browns have a new head coach, we're still going to be practicing. I think they practice tomorrow. Well, today is going to be when you're watching this video. So a bit awkward of a timeline here. But, yeah, they bring in Carson Ryan. That's what they did in the 7th round, and they ended out the day with that. Then let's look at what the Browns did with UDFA. So this is defense and special teams. Let's put this on screen here. Let me fix that for you. I apologize if I'm talking a little bit quieter today. I'm recording this video very, very late at night. I want to make sure that I had the most up-to-date information here. So sorry about that, trying to get everything I can in, but this is the defensive special teams pickups. Logan Fano, who, yes, is the brother of the Browns' first-round pick. Spencer Fano, I think that's just a layup of a thing to do, right? Make sure your high-value number 9 overall pick is comfortable for his first couple of months in Cleveland. Give him his brother there. It's very unlikely that Logan makes the team as a edge rusher, but the practice squad does exist. And I think, if he makes enough of a splash, opportunities there for him to be on the practice squad. There's going to be steep competition. They brought in Tyreek Sapp, 6'2", 273 pounds out of Florida. I am actually fairly familiar with Tyreek Sapp. I watched him at the Senior Bowl. Tyreek Sapp, and I'm just going to put this one down here so when it happens during camp, you can go back and say, man, I heard somebody say that was going to happen. And you can remember that it was me that told you that this was going to happen. But Tyreek Sapp is like, I'm going to have to use a Gen Z word. Tyreek Sapp is like the biggest aura farmer in this draft class. He is going to be out there and he's going to look cool as shit. That's what Tyreek Sapp was doing at the Senior Bowl. He was out there, again, I hate to use the Gen Z phrase. He was aura farming, though. He was aura farming the fuck out the Senior Bowl. Out there, cropped up jersey. He was out here doing all this, extra stuff before he started to pass. Bro's going to farm aura. That's about to be what happens here. And people are going to notice it. I wonder, who's going to fall for it. Because he's going to look cool to some people or look like he is a pass rusher to some people. But once the play gets going, there are some issues. He does have a little bit of a high pad level, sometimes over-aggressive, kind of plays too many mind games for his own good. But, yeah, Tyreek Sapp out of Florida. I saw him a lot at the Senior Bowl. He's going to be hilarious because, again, massive aura farmer. He is going to try to look like the coolest player on planet Earth out there. And he's going to do stuff that's going to look a little bit goofy. Y'all ever seen on videos of Genuine, doing all that extra shit, when he's 50 years old and it kind of just looks kind of goofy because he's still trying to do all this extra, but it's just not hitting. That's kind of how Tyreek Sapp be out there. He be doing the most, bro. The absolute most. I remember one rep at the Senior Bowl where he's lining up one-on-one, right? And, you usually walk up to the line, you get in your stance, and you do your rep, right? Tyreek Sapp, it was like the Kevin Hart joke about, how dudes be at the gym before they lift weights. This guy, he starts walking around, then he starts, clapping, then he starts, doing this, kind of stretch thing, and then he starts, leaning and lunging to the left, and he basically starts doing the Obafemi, right? If you watch wrestling, Obafemi be like Oba, doing that. He basically starts doing that, and then he starts doing a little wiggle, and then he gets into his pass rush stance, and then he loses the rep. Oh, he's gonna be fun. he's going to be fun in training camp. And he's going to be competing for, that practice squad spot there, right? The Dylan Gabriel quote, there's athletes and there's entertainers. He's one entertaining athlete. Let me tell you. Bernard Gooden, they got out of LSU, defensive tackle, 6 foot 280, which is super small for a defensive tackle. Nate Evans, corner out of Delaware. This is one that they reportedly gave, sorry about that. This is one that they reportedly gave extra money to. So circle him as basically an extra draft pick, right? They gave him draft pick compensation. They gave him 6 figures guaranteed. DeCarlos Nicholson, 6'3" corner out of USC. I'm going to have some more stats on some of these guys. Michael Coates, 5'9", 184 pound corner. So a lot of corners in UDFA. They're trying to make up for the fact that they didn't draft any. Zion Johnson, 6'1" safety, and then they took a flyer on West Paul, 6'5" punter out of Oklahoma State. I'm glad that they're adding punting competition. I think that they needed to add some punting competition because, I don't think our punter last year had a great year. But let's continue with the offensive pickups. TJ Harden, running back out of SMU. Devon Booth, 5'9", running back out of Mississippi State. Aaron Anderson. They're not sure if he signed with the Browns, but I think there is some thought that he did. Cole Wilson, Ivazan Miller, offensive tackle out of Auburn. So that's what the Browns have done so far in UDFA. You could see they didn't draft any corners, they didn't draft any running backs, so they're trying to make up for it with multiple UDFA signings. Some more information on some of these guys. Daniel Afuise was tweeting out when it comes to Tyreek Sapp, had 10 sacks in his last 4 seasons at Florida and led the Gators with 7 sacks in 2024. We'll talk about that in just a second. 33.5-inch arms on DeCarlos Nicholson, the corner out of USC. Bernard Goodman signing with the Browns, 6'1", 280 pounds, had 4 sacks, 15 TFLs in career college, includes stops at LSU, South Florida, Wake Forest. Honorable mention, all ACC. So that's kind of the background on some of the players that they brought in. If we're wondering what the Browns draft picture looks like next year, here's an idea of that. The Browns have all their picks except for their 6th-round pick, but they have 2 4th-round picks, additional 4th-round picks, so 3 4th-round picks in total, an extra 5th-round pick, and an extra 7th-round pick. What the Browns will use those picks for, I don't know, but they have those picks here. It's always important to note anything you get from a UDFA is a bonus. If you get a starter out of a UDFA, that's a huge coup, right? Ronnie Hickman being a starter UDFA in 2023, that's one of the most successful draft things that the Browns have done as far as just overall value, because again, you're just risking nothing. And if you hit on somebody you risk nothing on, it's just pure profit, right? So these UDFAs, you could bring in 10 of them. If none of them hit, it doesn't cost you a damn thing. But if one of them hits, it costs you nothing, and you just profit off of it. So that's really that. Carson Ryan, bringing him in, maybe the plan is to play him at fullback. Again, UDFA 7th-round picks. I'm not going to sit here and act like I have high expectations of any of these guys. You just hope that a couple of these guys can make the practice squad, really. There'll be some fun players in there. Tyreek Sapp, I think, is going to be fun to watch because, maybe he turns out to be good, right? Because, there were some reps he had at the Senior Bowl that were legitimately good. But, again, the aura farming is just crazy with him, man. I couldn't get past it. He was definitely out there trying to look cool as shit. And that's not the sort of thing that I'm going to ignore. But that's my thoughts. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.